Alright, let's check this out. Top 10 anime fights of summer 2023. I know for sure there's been some good fights because we watched them.
This summer, a lot of epic anime were released, such as Jujutsu Kaisen Season 2, Mushoku Tensei Season 2, Bleach, and many more, all with amazing storylines and spectacular animations. But in this video, we'll be showcasing some of the best fights in the summer anime list so far. Prepare to be amazed as we dive into the epic showdown between characters in their respective verses.
I wonder if he's gonna include the One Piece thing.
If you're a fan of classic anime, then you'll surely recognize this one. We have Rurouni Kenshin Himura versus Jine. We all know who Kenshin Himura is, but Jine might be someone who you don't remember at all. He's an assassin, and the fight between him and Kenshin is a great opening for this video. At this moment, Kenshin uses Bato Jutsu, and we all knew Jine was done for. The speed at which Kenshin pulled out his blade, the slow motion movement as the blade was about to reach Jine, and the way Jine reacted were absolutely satisfying to watch. Jine even thought he would win, but just like that, Kenshin pulled out a double Bato Jutsu using the sheath of his sword, sealing the deal. The remake did an amazing job of making the animation fit the modern era while still retaining that classic feel. Even before that Bato Jutsu attack, if Kenshin didn't have a reverse blade sword, then Jine would have been defeated right on the spot. This fight just showed just how far the difference between Kenshin and Jine's skills are.
I don't really know much about this anime, but I know it's like pretty old and they renewed it, right?
Versus Hajun in Record of Ragnarok.
Record of Ragnarok.
Initially, Buddha was supposed to fight Zerofuku, the god of misfortune. He's also the fusion of the 7 lucky gods, being their original form before splitting up in the past. In a twisted turn of events, Zerofuku becomes a vessel for the demon king of the 6th heaven Hajun and disappears completely. While Buddha was pushed into a corner, a silver lining appeared for him and gave him a fighting chance.
The animation
Buddha was
on this,
able to achieve enlightenment along with Zerofuku's soul. He was able to use Volunda to create his ultimate weapon, Great Nirvana Sword Zero, and unleashes a downward slash with tremendous force. This attack was capable of cutting Hajun's body into pieces. The depth of the story, its animation, and its choreography create an effect of satisfaction and awe for all the viewers, making it one of the best fights not just in Record of Ragnarok, but in the entire 2023 summer anime list.
That looks sick.
Hey,
it's got like very saturated
If you watch
colors.
this video, then I bet you're a true anime fan, so I have a present for you. I give you the sponsors of this video, Eternal Evolution. The Eternal Evolution is an idol strategic is their new. She's the main for how they design. My link in the description below.
I got all of it.
Scan the QR code
I got
right
every
here
single
so you can download
character.
Eternal Evolution
It's
and
a
join
great
the
game.
collaboration event right now. Use the promo code EESAC2045 and experience Ghost in the Shell SAC 2045.
That's actually interesting. I'm not gonna lie, chat. Man, why did Zone 100 fall off so hard? It was a great anime.
Moving on, we have one of the craziest fight scenes
I love the
in any
movie as
anime
well.
this summer, 2023. Akira versus the walking shark zombie in Zone 100. What made this utterly ridiculous was that nobody expected a shark to grow legs after it turned into a zombie. Well, it didn't exactly grow legs, but aside from that, it's still worthy of this list. Akira's entrance, the camera angles while he was fighting the monster, all the way to his Crackle Thunder Punch. It looked like this wasn't a zombie anime, but it was like a scene straight out of My Hero Academia. It's rare to see this kind of animation quality, much less eye-catching impact frames in this genre, which was the reason Zone 100 took the anime world by storm. We might have expected to see the shark explode, but it ended even better, seeing as how funny it was to see a bunch of zombie legs moving around after the shark turned upside down. Overall, the zombie shark punch may probably be a fight you didn't even think about encountering in this top 10, but
I love the
anime for a reason.
Great anime.
Next up is one of the most anticipated fights this summer. Yujiro Hanuma versus Baki.
Baki. Boom.
finally, the moment every Baki fan has ever dreamed of. The ultimate battle between father and son to
aesthetics.
decide who's the strongest has finally happened. After years of training and practice, Baki Hanma feels ready to challenge his father to the fight that will keep the entire verse on edge. Countless matches, countless fights, countless injuries, and countless powerful enemies prepared Yujiro Hanma's son for this ultimate moment. Since what began in the first series continued 3 further series, the Baki Hanma conclusion is one that's worth anticipating. Baki's goal of competing against his father to become the strongest man alive served as the driving force behind all of his efforts and ultimately came true as he attained the pinnacle of his performance. Baki has significantly improved in terms of speed, reflexes, technique, and agility during the past 2 episodes.
I just love
Baki
how
loses the fight figuratively,
in the anime
meeting the
they
same
like
demise as his mother, but
like
the
the
young
muscles,
fighter
man.
pulls through
They're
and
so
lives to
well
fight
done.
another day. The series doesn't come to a close with a fight. It
Like they have
focuses a lot on
muscles
the
that
father-son
humans don't
bond
even
that
have
aims
muscles.
to strengthen and repair. Given Yujiro's
In those
attitude,
places.
it's difficult to persuade him to recognize Baki for his fortitude, endurance, adaptability, and most importantly, his kid, who steals the show by symbolically cooking for Baki and resigning the title. Yujiro finally acknowledges his son. He now announces to the world that Baki is the new strongest creature walking the earth, while in turn, Baki confirms that his father was the winner of the fight.
That's a nice, like, cute ending. The freaking veins.
Next on the list is Captain Zaraki Genpachi versus the visionary Gremmy. With the power to make everything
This
you
dude looks
imagine
so
become
cool.
reality, you'd think you're the strongest there is. I mean, to be completely honest, that's an insanely strong ability, overpowered even. You could just imagine your opponent to cease existing and the fight's over, but that ability won't defeat Genpachi easily. That guy is just him, and no one can take that away.
He is
Being a monster that defies anything and everything, he demonstrates just why he's the strongest in the
freaking
entirety
beast,
of Soul
man.
Society. Through sheer strength alone, Genpachi over and over again stopped and countered whatever Gremmy imagined, obliterating a meteor with a single strike, withstanding a barrage of bullets and missiles, and finally cutting Gremmy despite being stuck in space. Since the battle began, Gremmy never stood a speck of a chance against Zaraki. With the captain's display
That's
of
true.
overwhelming power, Gremmy was left with no
I guess.
choice but to imagine himself becoming stronger than Zaraki. Instead of defeating Zaraki, he defeated himself in the process. As Gremmy managed to imagine himself being as strong as Genpachi, he didn't realize that his body couldn't handle it. Ultimately leading to his defeat, the last image he saw as he was falling to his death was Zaraki looking down on him. The animation and conclusion of the story was so satisfying, we just had to add this one to the list.
Freak. What is that? There's like a fucking...
Up next, we have the entire
Meat
fight between
cleaver.
the Sorcerer Killer and the strongest
dude.
sorcerer in Jujutsu Kaisen
It had to be up
history.
here. Insane episode. Actually, 2 episodes.
This fight had 2
Bro.
rounds and ended with a 1-1 score, but we all know how things turned out for real. During their first fight, Toji overwhelmed Gojo in both speed and smarts to the point where Gojo got absolutely decimated.
Yes.
Now
Bro,
that
he got
shocked fans,
butchered.
especially Gojo simps out there, seeing as in Season 1, Gojo was portrayed as untouchable, and he even said that he could win against Sukuna. But who knew that there was someone that was able to not only injure him, but stab him in every vital point known to man.
Oh, God!
In round 2,
Every
that's when
hole.
Gojo made one of the best comebacks in all of anime. He basically resurrected himself using the reverse curse technique and went on to become a maniac. This round was just as hype as the first time they faced off, but Gojo unleashed a secret technique that blew a hole through Toji and beyond. The animation was godly, and even though there were
No
some
more
differences from the manga,
left side
the
of your
studio managed
body.
to capture the impact and emotions that made the fight very memorable.
Where's his honorable mentions?
Now we're in with one of the heavy hitters with Fate,
Oh.
Strange Fake Whispers of Dawn, Gilgamesh versus Enkidu. No doubt this scene by far is the best animated one amongst
Really?
everything on this list. I couldn't stop watching it over and over again. The animation was a
haven't
true
seen this.
masterpiece. I was still in awe of watching it for the 10th time while making this list. The visual effects were on
Yeah, it
another
looks
level, but
freaking
the story
beautiful,
is something
though.
you shouldn't overlook just because the animation was superb. Gilgamesh and Enkidu are revered as monsters in their verse, and in terms of combat strength, Enkidu is equal to Gilgamesh, even though they have the power to transform all creations. Gilgamesh and Enkidu share a bond of friendship, and what better way to greet each other in their their reunion than to go all out. Ultimately, the encounter ended in a draw since Enkidu felt a curse of death, Enkidu's natural enemy. Before Gilgamesh left, he gave his best friend one final attack that lit up a part of the world visible from outer space. The depth, animation, and visual effects of this scene will certainly put other anime to shame, and that's why this is one of the best fights in the 2023 summer anime list.
Is he BMing? He's like, I can't hear you, man. Oh, is this a Chinese anime?
From one well-animated fight scene to another, we have Fog Hill of 5 Elements, Yixuan and Jingxuan versus Shanchu. In this fight, Xuan and Jing face off against Shanchu, who just achieved his final form, making him stronger than he was before. In this 2 versus 1 battle, Shanchu was trading blows against the duo and eventually dominated them, proving that in this form, his strength couldn't be matched by anyone. Caught in a tight spot, Jingxuan was in a lot of trouble as Shanchu was about to finish him off with a devastating
Chinese
move,
anime have
but luckily,
very nice
Yixuan stepped in and tanked the upcoming attack. Enraged by this, Yixuan transformed into a being that far surpasses Shanchu's imagination. From here on out, the animation looked like a Chinese classic painting. The animation before Yixuan's rage mode was already a masterpiece. But this takes the cake by far. The choreography and visual effects of the scene will give you goosebumps every time you remember it in your mind. Fog Hill of 5 Elements has always been renowned for its great animation. This one takes it a step further.
Yeah, it looks sick. The contrast between the black and white and the colors. Yikes.
Last but not least, we have an entry from one of the most underrated animes of all time, Blades of the Guardian. Team Daoma versus Team He Yixuan. Daoma was outmanned and surrounded by He Yixuan and his killers, but their advantage didn't last long because Daoma's companions arrived and took them by surprise. In both spring and summer 2023, Blade of the Guardians has given us some of the best fight scenes in anime, and this one is no exception. It might take you some time to get used to Chinese voice acting, but once you do, it's definitely worth the watch. The animation in this scene was superb, and each of the characters' entrances was just awesome to look at. Ayuya's line was stone cold right after she put an arrow through one of them. Daoma even used one of He Yixuan's allies as a human shield. It was brutal, cinematic, dynamic, and showed just how strong Daoma and his companions really are. It'll exceed your expectations and get you hooked on the series.
Crazy. Oh. Of course. Surprise, surprise. Surprise. Probably like one of the most epic moments.
We all knew this was coming.
Time.
We have Gear 5 Luffy versus Kaido up next. Luffy versus Kaido was probably one of the best fights we've had in One Piece, and the emphasis on fights there because it took Luffy 3 whole tries just to defeat Kaido. And this last one took the entire anime world by storm. Not only did we get to see the pinnacle of Luffy's strength, which is his
wish they dragged that one for 10
but
episodes.
we also saw how overpowered cartoon characters really are. Gear 5 basically turns anything Luffy touches into a Looney Tunes scene, and Luffy himself is impossible. However, even with his power-up, Kaido was proving to be stronger than anyone thought. From Luffy using him as a jumping rope to Luffy grabbing literal lightning bolts and throwing them at him, and him finally using his gigantic attack, Bajrang Gun, the Straw Hat Captain made it one of the most unique boss fights in anime history. We didn't get to see it finished in one move, but that's why it was amazing to watch. We got to see Kaido truly live up to his name as the strongest creature, while at the same time, Luffy became a literal god. Their fight spanned entire episodes, and we aren't complaining one bit.
One Piece has got to be coming to an end, right?
From the different animations, the sound effects, and up to the moment where Bajrang Gun finished Kaido off, this fight cemented itself as a legendary moment in anime.
Epic. That was a good list. I really enjoyed it.
That's about it so far. These are my